Hey there! Happy Thursday to you, Bill O'Leary, coming to you live as part of our Thirsty Thursday series. For those of you sort of stumbling across me for the first time, um, uh, I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group, and so what we do to try to sort of share information and maybe educate the public, talk about something that may be sort of relevant to what we do, current, that kind of thing. We, for some time now, have had a series that we call our Thirsty Thursday series. Okay, so if you're thirsting for knowledge, as I like to always open these with, you're coming to the right place. So today's topic, I was thinking earlier in the week, what would be good to talk about this Thursday, and that is, people may have sort of some sort of estate plan in place, but how do you know when and if and how to update it? So maybe using a checklist, some things to consider. So look, regularly updating your estate plan, what it does is it sort of helps you avoid common sort of what we call estate planning mistakes. So this way, by updating it, you can make sure that your estate plan is entirely up to date, it's current, and it's in compliance with the law. So, some things to consider. First of all, have you had a sort of a change in residency, particularly if you moved here to Florida from another state? So, look, estate laws are very different, from state to state. Like, how do they deal with sort of a marital property that's owned between spouses? What are the rules that they use for executors, that kind of thing, and for wills? Maybe, how about powers of attorney? States are different. So it's a good idea if you've moved here to Florida to review your estate plan and make sure it complies with our law here in Florida. You should also update your address and make sure that your family members and your advisors are informed about where your documents are held. Okay, so that's a change in residency is a reason to sort of reevaluate your estate plan. How about this? Any changes in the law? Any changes in the law? So look, estate laws change over time, so you should review your estate plan to see, maybe if it's been affected by any of these changes in the law, maybe dealing with taxes or just regular estate law in general. So you should always update it if there have been recent changes. In fact, there was a change a couple years back, we call it the Secure Act, that really sort of radically altered how we deal with retirement accounts in the context of estate planning. So you really, if you've not had a look, somebody taking a look at your estate plan in the past, really like 2 years since the Secure Act was passed, you really need to do that. Now, what about a financial power of attorney? A financial power of attorney. So, do you have a financial power of attorney that maybe you've signed and you've given it to someone else to let them make financial decisions, help you sort of manage your financial affairs? Well, if you have, then you've named somebody called your agent who's authorized to act on your behalf, again, to make financial decisions, business decisions, transactions, if you're not able to do so. You should make sure that this power of attorney is current and up to date. You should also take a look at who you appointed as agents. Maybe who you appointed years ago is not the person you'd want to be in charge now. And also make sure that if you have any backups that were listed, those are still current. Those are the backups you want, or maybe you want to change that up. Also, if you've revoked a power of attorney that maybe you did in the past, keep very careful and thorough records. And so, if you have revoked a prior power of attorney, you want to have an attorney involved and notify the proper parties. What about for healthcare matters? A healthcare surrogate designation is what we use in Florida. Sometimes it's also referred to as a healthcare power of attorney. So in most cases, it makes sense. It makes sense to appoint someone as your surrogate, somebody that lives near you, because it is more practical if they're closer to you. Now, if you plan to undergo any sort of medical procedures shortly, you should review this healthcare surrogate with your not financial institution, the medical institution, okay? Because sometimes they require their own healthcare surrogate form. It's also helpful for you to make your resuscitation wishes clear if you want a DNR. By the way, that's not something that a lawyer prepares, that's a doctor's order. But usually that is if you're already in a hospital setting and things are touch and go. You should also affirm any clearly expressed wishes regarding your end-of-life medical treatment, the kind of medical treatment that you want if you're close to death or terminal, end-stage condition, so forth, or maybe the kind of treatment that you want withheld, procedures. You don't want any extraordinary procedures like being put on a machine if it's not going to do any good, and it's just going to end up prolonging the dying process. So take another look at your healthcare decision makers. How about your last will and testament? Look, this is one of the essential pieces of an estate plan, so you should review all the details of your will, including who's the executor, how about the beneficiaries, who's getting what under the estate, maybe estate tax issues, and also plan for your digital assets, all of those assets that are in the cloud, whether they're online banking, investment accounts, utility accounts, social media accounts, all sorts of things that when you die, you don't want to leave a mess to your family having to try to figure out how to access this stuff. And of course, if you have minor children, you should also name guardians for them. You should name guardians for them and confirm that your plan, your will, includes important provisions for a trust to sort of kick in at your death for the benefit of your minor children. Speaking of trust, if you have a trust, a revocable trust, you should review the trustee and the successor trustee appointment. So you should check carefully whether there have been any changes in the estate law, what's the inheritance tax burden going to look like, who's going to be handling the administration of the trust, the management of the trust, and so forth. So if you don't have a trust, by the way, you should seriously consider getting one. Talk to a good lawyer, like us here at Legacy Planning Law Group, because it's a great way to make things smooth and easy for your loved ones after you pass away, and making sure they don't get bogged down in the probate court, which takes a long time and is quite an expensive undertaking and frustrating to boot. So a revocable living trust, very important component of an estate plan. How about changes in your family? So as relationships evolve, your estate plan needs to change as well. So family changes can take a number of forms, like marriage, divorce, maybe the birth of a child or a grandchild, adoption of children, or maybe even the death of a loved one. So these changes occur not only in the lives of, let's say, in our case, of our clients, but also in the lives of our clients' beneficiaries, you see, that have been designated already by our clients. So, for example, parents may name a child and that child's spouse as beneficiaries of their trust, but fail to update the trust when their child gets divorced, you see. So a change in family relationships clearly should trigger a review of your estate plan and any beneficiary designations you have with financial institutions, and because this will make sure that the sort of designated individuals continue to reflect your wishes. A lot of times family members that are named, they're named not only as beneficiaries but also as decision makers to take on important sort of roles of responsibility. So look, when your children are minors under age 18, you may want to designate your parents or maybe your siblings as successor trustees. But then as your kids become adults, and hopefully responsible adults, you may want to switch that, change that up to make your adult children as your, let's say, successor trustee under your trust, or your executor under your will, maybe your power of attorney, your healthcare surrogate, and so forth. So updating your estate planning documents is very important. So again, not only your will or your trust, but also look carefully at your beneficiary designations. Maybe you've got a bank account, investment account that has designated beneficiaries. Does that still reflect what you want? So again, changes in your family circumstances should trigger at least a review of your estate plan. What about changes in your finances? Changes in finances may not only trigger a need to update your existing documents, but it might also necessitate some additional documents and strategies. So, I don't know, as an example, case in point, you may have received an inheritance. Well, maybe you want to create a separate trust to handle that inheritance that may have different distributions, different beneficiaries than those are provided in, let's say, your regular joint trust with your spouse, just as an example. So, or let's say you're investing in real estate. You may want to set up LLCs for that investment property. So, again, changes in finances should really cause you to sit down and review your estate plan and review it with a good estate lawyer. So, hey, if you'd like to know more about sort of using a checklist to update your estate plan and maybe how we can help, we'd love to talk to you. So what we do in each of these Thursday live sessions, we encourage you. Take the next step. Reach out and schedule a phone call, a free 15-minute phone call that we call our Discovery phone call. It's a chance for us to sort of start a conversation, as well as for you to share with us what's on your mind, and that way we can tell you if we can help you. Again, that phone call is complimentary. You can book it now by going to our website, Legacy Planning Law Group, legacyplanninglawgroup.com, to the Book Now button, or you can just Google us, Legacy Planning Law Group. So if you've enjoyed this video, would you please like it, or better yet, share it with your friends? I really appreciate it. And again, what we're trying to do is trying to get the word out, this important stuff. There's lots of information on the internet, very overwhelming. Some of it good, some of it not so good, some of it conflicting. We're trying to get sort of an accurate, concise, and clear message out to the public. So hope you've enjoyed this talk on using a checklist to update your estate plan. As I said, this is part of our Thirsty Thursday series. I'll be going live again next Thursday at about this same time. So as I like to close every week, if you're thirsting for knowledge, we will quench your thirst. So Bill O'Leary signing off for now on behalf of everybody here, a wonderful team of people here that I work with, Team Legacy, whether it's Jeanette, or whether it's Cindy or Sarah or Courtney, and we brought on board somebody on a part-time basis. Her name is Jessica. She's wonderful. I work with all women, and so they keep me on the straight and narrow. On behalf of everybody here at Team Legacy, go make it a great day and a better world. See you next Thursday.